Hey everyone, Ahsoka here. Today we're going to be talking about Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker with a special guest. Hello everyone, I'm Claudia and I'm usually behind the camera, but today here I am. So I brought Claudia here because I thought this would be more of an interesting discussion because I've been a Star Wars fan since I was 5, but Claudia only recently started watching Star Wars around the time that Disney picked it up.
Yes.
So I thought if the two of us were to do a discussion about The Rise of Skywalker, you guys could see different opinions, and maybe in the comments below you would also let us know about what you thought of the movie.
Which would be awesome.
Alright, so maybe let's just dive right into it. As you all know, Snoke was introduced in The Force Awakens, and he allegedly was supposed to be the big bad guy of this trilogy. But then, in The Last Jedi, Rey and Kylo Ren kind of get rid of him together. But now, in The Rise of Skywalker, we're told that Snoke was just a puppet and that Palpatine was the one controlling him and controlling everything that led up to this. It felt like, at some sort of level, it made sense when, at the same time, it didn't. Because he was a really powerful Sith Lord, and it was bound to happen that he was gonna come up again, even if it was only like a small cameo or something. What I didn't expect was for him to actually be there himself. It was a little bit surprising, but at the same time he's just so powerful, something that you can clearly tell in this movie.
What I had in my notes was that he just felt useless, because if you're starting at a point in the trilogy, and if you're trying to lead with some sort of an actual plot line, something that it starts with The Force Awakens and it leads to technically the third act, as if it were a giant movie.
Right.
In The Rise of Skywalker, bringing Palpatine in makes absolutely no sense. And you can't try to tell me during the movie that, oh, I've been the one that's been leading all of this along in the past few years. Yeah, that doesn't really work like that, because there's actually no proof of that whatsoever. If they were to lead it on, if they were to drop a few hints like, oh, this is this, and in The Last Jedi you also see something like, oh, there's kind of like, maybe he's back, but no, that's impossible. And then they move along from it. And then it's like, oh, he was back. He is here. He didn't die. He's just some sort of Hellraiser kind of thing moving along.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of ruined a little bit of him showing up when they haven't really led up to that. But I don't know if you know this, but apparently Disney, because they really just want to make more money out of this, they are planning on releasing, I don't know if it's a video or whatever, on explaining to fans how he came back through Fortnite. They're going to make a Star Wars appearance of him on Fortnite and explaining to everyone how the hell he came back.
But that's just the thing.
It makes no sense.
They already did Rogue One just to explain a plot point that kind of was there, right? And that they needed to explain it. And now they can't keep explaining things outside of the original trilogies, or of the actual trilogies.
Side note though, Rogue One so far has been my favorite movie of this Disney time, I guess.
Sure, and that's awesome, but they still can't keep explaining. It's the same thing as in the Avengers. For example, suddenly we have a movie about the gay guy in a Endgame.
Oh my god.
It makes no sense, and they can't keep doing that.
Right. And the fact that towards the end of the movie, we realized that Leia knew that Rey was Palpatine's granddaughter. That was beautiful, and that she didn't mistreat her or treated her any different way because of it.
How did she know though? How did everyone know?
Well, Leia is strong with the Force. I assume it was
That's how she knew?
it was the same way that she knew that Luke was her brother.
But that kind of makes sense, but then wouldn't Rey know as well in that scene in The Last Jedi when she finds out who her parents were?
Here's the thing, she would have known if she wasn't trying to kid herself, because that's something we kind of get in this movie, the fact that Rey was supposed to know because she had memories of her parents, but she was kind of burying them deep inside of her because she didn't want to know the truth. She didn't really want to know who she was, who her parents were, who her grandfather is, because she was afraid.
It's just the whole, they chose to be no one's thing is... Sure, whatever. They chose to be no one.
So, as I was saying, this movie is very emotional and it has some heart-wrenching scenes. Like, for example, when Han shows up to Ben, oh my god, a couple of tears started falling down on my face because it was so emotional. And honestly, him showing up in the movie was like a really big surprise to me. So anyway, there was those emotional scenes with Han and Leia and a lot of other ones. But what I really want to talk about were the ones that were emotional, but then it led to nowhere because they kind of just cut that out immediately. Like when Rey kills Chewie, first of all, it was beautiful. The fact that she can use Force lightning, amazing. Chills everywhere. And then the ship just explodes. But then a couple of moments later, we find out that Chewie was already somewhere else. So what the hell was the point of it? I mean, it made me upset and sad, and I thought I was saying goodbye to Chewie forever. But then I didn't. And something else that was exactly the same thing
C-3PO.
was with C-3PO, because I saw the trailer, she didn't. She usually doesn't see any trailers because she likes to be blown away with the movies.
All trailers have spoilers.
Yeah, but I saw the trailers, and just from the trailers themselves, I was like, holy shit, C-3PO is gonna die in this movie. Oh my god, I'm not prepared for it. But then they erase his memory, and it was a very sad scene because C-3PO was a big part of this saga since the beginning.
Big annoying part.
He was a big part since the beginning, just like R2-D2. And losing one of them, it was just a big no-no to me and very emotional and sad. But then, like Chewie, it's the same thing all over again. A couple of moments later, R2-D2 saves him. I mean, why wouldn't he? They're basically dating. But it just kind of cut off the emotional stakes of it, I guess. I mean, it was great that we didn't got to lose C-3PO, but if you weren't gonna do it, why do it in the first place? The fact that they kill Han Solo, honestly, I think that they were just pressured by Harrison Ford to do it, because if it was up to them, they would keep him on to give something to fans.
But honestly, I understand, and a lot of people were saying, oh, it was so useless killing him in The Force Awakens, but it's actually something that drives Kylo Ren a lot throughout the rest of the movie, so it was something that was kind of needed.
No, I agree. I mean, it was upsetting at the time, but given that it's something that develops Kylo Ren,
exactly,
and his character is really great, and
it's ultimately what brings him back.
Exactly, and the fact that in this movie, Han Solo shows up again, and that's the thing that brings Kylo Ren back to being Ben Solo. I thought it was amazing, and
can we talk about that though?
Sure.
How does he show up?
It's a connection with the Force, I would assume.
From Kylo's behalf?
Yeah.
But,
I mean, for all we know, Han Solo could also... For all we know, Han Solo could also have a connection with the Force, although we were never told about it. But in this new trilogy,
the Force works.
exactly. But in this new trilogy, apparently everyone has a connection with the Force. So what the hell do I know?
Can we ignore that? Just like we ignore the Kylo kiss, Rilo kiss. As I was saying, I didn't like Leia's send-off though. I mean, I get it because obviously she's not here anymore, and there was only so much they could have done
with it. Yeah.
And especially, I mean, they used a lot of scenes that they had filmed before, and the CGI clearly didn't work that well as they would hope.
Oh my god, that scene where we get a flashback of Luke and Leia.
Weird.
Young Leia will forever give me nightmares. I'm telling you guys, it was worse than the new Chucky doll. That shit was terrifying. Honestly, I was in the movie and the whole movie itself was super emotional, but then that scene kind of, what the hell is happening?
Anyway. Right, because and CGI clearly was not exactly working, and it seemed like they used it as, like, when they really had to, that's when they used the CGI, so obviously they couldn't do that again, but it just felt so, like, I don't know, I guess,
we, at least, I really enjoyed Leia's scenes, but the way that she died, like, it was really cool that she became one with the Force, because we see in this movie that she got Jedi training. I was fine that in the original trilogy she wasn't a Jedi because her character was already badass on her own. She didn't necessarily need to be a Jedi to be more of a badass. But then in The Last Jedi we see her doing a Force pull to come back to the ship so she doesn't die, and that kind of upsetted me a little bit because we never saw her having any training in the Force. I really loved Leia's scenes in this movie, and her son send-off, although very emotional, and I kind of cried a lot, especially because when she was about to die, Carrie Fisher's daughter was with her on the screen.
I know.
And that to me was just
her
like...
her face.
Oh
really,
my god, that was just...
Yeah.
that was just too much, you know. That was the thing that really made me cry even more.
Yeah.
But the fact that they made up that lame excuse, oh, she's gonna have to go connect with her son, and that's gonna take everything out of her. Like, I know
like
that
she died because of Kylo Ren. Like,
isn't that upsetting to you guys? To me, it's kind of upsetting.
Like, both his parents died because of him. Like, come on. I mean,
it makes sense because that was what eventually brought Kylo Ren to being Ben Solo again. But I don't know, I just felt like Carrie Fisher deserved more than that. It was really awesome that she became Force Ghost later on and she became one with the Force. That was like, it really clenched my heart and it was like right there. But, I don't know, she deserved more.
I loved their connection with Rey. Like, the way they interact, even though we didn't get too much of that.
Leia and Rey?
Yeah. Even though there's not, like, a lot of that, the moments we do get, really good. And you can tell, we don't get a backstory on that, because it's been a while.
Yeah.
But you can tell that there's been a very deep development there.
Yeah.
And it's very nice. Especially because, like, two strong women doing the strong stuff.
It was cool.
It was.